How's it going, everyone? Today it is Monday, April 8th, 2024, and we're going to start the video off with the two IC options that we had in the last video. So I called out Ulta and I said, look, if Ulta breaks 440, I think it could set up very nicely for a PDS. So it has not happened yet, but you have your alert set at the low from April 3rd. There was some revised negative guidance on that on the stock, and some negative news that could affect earnings. So we're going to see how this plays out here, but that's a nice setup that we're eyeing. The second one over here is COP. So COP on an M15 alert. So you can see in the M15 chart, we got the pullback earlier today, and then we got the alert right over here around the 133.36 level. So I think that sets up for a nice move. COP has a ATR of $2, so that's what I'm going to target on a stock like this. And now that we are a little bit more market neutral, we're not looking to, again, overstay our welcome. So even if you want to target $1 on a stock like this, target the high here, I think that's very, very fair. So we are in COP long. And we're going to take a look on how that does tomorrow. But I like the price action on it today, and we got a very, very nice entry on a very strong D1 chart. All right. So let's talk about the market and our bias today. So on a longer term bias, we are still bullish. This is going to be a big month because we have earnings coming out, and earnings in the previous month was on the more on the slightly more positive side on the mega cap tech, and we're looking to see if that earnings strength continues for those Mag 7 stocks and also the rest of the market stocks. We know some other factors into play. There's Fed's watching CPI. The market is looking into rate cuts, and how many rate cuts they expect to see, and that's all fine and dandy. We're just waiting again for some new information on those things this month. So CPI is coming out on Wednesday, on the 10th. So they'll have some market moving stuff over here. PPI also comes out later. CPI is on Tuesday. My mistake. CPI is on Tuesday. PPI is on Thursday. We have the FOMC minutes also coming out on the 10th on Wednesday. So quite a bit of things happening this week, and I should be able to double check. Oh no, I was actually initially right. CPI is on Wednesday with the FOMC minutes. So I'm not sure. In the past, it hasn't been majorly market moving in terms of shifting the D1 macro trend, right? Like here's a CPI, CPI release, and then we continue the trend. We should have another CPI release, sometime March CPI release, then we continue the trend. So hasn't shifted the overall macro trend, but it does cause a decent amount of intraday volatility. Oh, sorry, I think this was CPI over here on the 12th, and then this was PPI here on the 14th. So definitely does cause a lot of volatility intraday. And then next week we got retail sales, so we'll keep an eye on that. A little bit more of a minor report, but still one to watch. Technically, this I think has been the key in the market, where we're sort of slowing down, lots of mixed candles, compressing over here, and we got our first chink in the armor in this bearish engulfing candle on SPY. We managed to recover half of that over here. Today we're just sort of compressing in this range. Not really doing too much. We're going to get to that in a second, but our D1 bias has shifted to more of a 1 bullish. And so my plan with and I'll get to what swing traders should do, but we're 1 bullish because we've made a long rally. Let's look at the market again here. We made a long rally. It's been how many months since the end of October, right? November, December, January, February. So about 4 months of rallying, and then about a month so of kind of a really weak, wimpy rally. So at this point, asset managers decide when valuations are too high. So it really seems like here, okay, this might be where They feel that valuations are pretty stretched, and we might get into that stair-step dip pattern where we need to get into a more attractive price, and then the market will surge higher. So what am I planning to do? Well, we know that we need to probably get a dip to see some movement. And I plan to slowly scale out of my longs in the coming weeks. There's a couple of forces in play here. Obviously, we have inflation news that'll cause some movement intraday this week. We also have bank earnings kicking off at the end of this week, and we have mega cap tech earnings coming out over there. There's usually a bid to earnings, as we saw over here. Here's a lot of mega cap tech earnings. Price action was a little bit stronger, but we had a bid. I don't think the market is going to crumble. And through that bid, I plan to slowly scale out of some of my positions. I still have some bullish put spreads on, and I think those should be okay. I don't think the market has given me any reason to bail on those bullish put spreads because there's been no technical breakdown. A lot of them are pretty out of the money, closing a few of them this week. So we're going to let them expire worthless. So swing traders, I think it's time to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more selective with picks. I think overnight picks can work. I would probably do smaller size, do some overnight, maybe debit spreads perhaps, limit your risk. And don't overstay your welcome, and be prepared to cut your losers. I think I'd also err on the side of not trading. That's why some of my picks have been very, very specific. And hey, I want to see exactly this before I enter the trade. And my targets are pretty passive because the market has been changing. My shorter term market bias is fairly neutral, maybe a little bit bearish. We recover this nice candle, and I want to see us recover us more and pretty fast. That would mean a little bit more aggressive. I don't know if that's going to happen. Asset managers, they have not been aggressive really in the past month or so. I don't think the market's overextended. We're right around the 8 EMA. We're kind of hovering around. I think the HA candle does a good job of showing, right? We have a pretty strong trend over here, a little pullback, and now we're getting a lot more red candles, a lot more dojis, a lot more wicks. I don't think we may have to worry about a pullback, but I still don't believe the bottom's going to fall out, and I'm also not too worried about a capitulation. We are going a little bit more horizontal and a little bit more flat. I have support at the A VWAP first over here at 1538, and then the next level of support at this low around 513. The resistance is at this high around 520.50-ish. Lots of connection points over here, and then the next level would be closer to the all-time high around 524. Let's look at the market intraday. So I mentioned what swing traders should do, which is kind of stick to the sidelines, kind of go hit and run with some very short-term trades if you have excellent stocks, but I would err on the side of not trading. We may have to lean more into day trading if we get any sort of market transition. So market opened very flat today, right? Here's the close, 518. Here's the open, right? We opened 50 cents higher, very, very flat day. And then low volume, lots of mixed candles, lots of tails, lots of wicks. We get a break to the upside here at 1050, and we try to test the upper end of this range. Market gets rejected from this range. We consolidate a little bit, and then we get a test of the bottom end of the range. Now we go back to the middle, and now we're just chopping around VWAP, and we are absolutely dead. So I am neutral intraday right now. Semis, tech, and discretionary were pretty strong in the morning. Healthcare, tech, industrials were on the weaker side. I thought mega cap tech looked a little bit weak, although there's some pockets of strength in Google and Amazon. There is some market breadth. A lot of stocks are moving and are higher than the market. VIX is low, which is nice. And we have more stocks on heavy buy than heavy sell, which is always a nice sign. A few more stocks on green oil flush versus red oil flush, which is always what I like to see. So on the market component side, I'm more of a one bullish. We have some nice strength in the sectors and where the money is going. So that gives us a bit of a bias to that side. Now, my intraday bias, like I mentioned, is a 0. The 1-apiece cycles have been producing, and we've just been chopping around in this range. I've also noticed this wedge forming on the M5 in this range over here. So I think when we get a nice break out of the wedge, we can get some nice movement. This is going to be a slow day in the market. Two-sided price action And at least there's some range in this area here. We have $2 of range. So my market bias would shift from either from a -1 to a 1. So when we test the top in the range and we consolidate over here, then this is a nice time to find some relative weak shorts. And you can test the bottom end of that range. We get this long green bearish engulfing candle here. Take profits into strength, assuming that this is going to hold. Right, I wouldn't overstay my welcome over here. We get this 1OP bullish cross here. We start to produce on this cycle. Okay, now you can take some relatively strong longs, and we assume that the market may test the top end of that range. But really not a day. I haven't taken any trades today. Not really done too much. Pretty slow day. I talked about some scenarios that would change my market bias, and the bottom line is that if we break out of the range to the upside, depending on how we break, that would get me bullish. If we break out of the range to the downside, again, depending how we break, that would get me more bearish. If we get some more heavy, some stacked red candles, right, heavy volume breaking out of the range, okay, that's a much more bearish move than something like this when we break out of the range, which tells me that this is a slow drip lower and more of a buyer's boycott, where they just don't want to buy at this price and grab this low volume float down to fill in the gap, or maybe attack this priority low. Let's go over our portfolio before we go in some of the picks. Oop, that is not the portfolio. All right, portfolio over here. So Alta and COP and COP, we haven't done anything too much over here. Wells Fargo has earnings this week. The stock does rally into earnings, but I decided this morning to take a small loss on Wells Fargo. So it's not loading over here. We're going to give it a week, or not give it a week, but give it some time. So I decided to take the loss on Wells Fargo because this stock has not done anything for a whole month. It's been compressing at the high of the day, done absolutely nothing. So I'm not trading stocks that don't trend. And look, could it rally into earnings and could it be profitable? It could, but here's what I'm seeing now. We know our short-term market bias is a little bit more neutral. Our longer-term market bias is a little bit less bullish. It may not surge into earnings, and to me, it is not. The risk reward is something that I don't see in my favor for Wells Fargo. So that is why I took the loss on Wells Fargo. So I'm going to update that, and I'm also going to update again the March picks video just to show the losses over there a little bit more clearly. So that was an L, did not produce. Okay, so once this comes up in a second, we will take a look at this chart. Okay, chart is loaded back up. So this is where we took Wells Fargo, had a bit of a knockdown over here, got up higher, couldn't do too much. Stock has absolutely flatlined, and with the market has kind of rallied a little bit, but it's also kind of flatlined, doesn't have any strength. So took the small loss over here on the stock and unwinding that position. So sometimes they might be losers, sometimes they might be winners. So we're fine with that. Okay, Lyft. I hate Lyft. I hate Lyft with a burning passion. I'm going to take Uber from now on. But ever since we entered here, we missed this D1 level. It has been trickling down very, very weak. It has found some support at this horizontal resistance and a VWAP-E. We're leaning on that. And look, as I mentioned in every single video, I'm looking to take a higher probability loss. So I'm waiting for a bounce, see if it can challenge at least this gap over here at 818. Or if it can even get to the gap, that'd be even better if it can challenge this horizontal resistance around 941. And I plan to take my loss over there. That is what I'm looking for in Lyft. So being patient with this. I know it's a dog. Market is pretty weak. If the market starts to tank, then I'm out of the trade. But it is starting to find a little bit of support. And I know that this stock is choppy. It bounces. So I'm waiting for some sort of candle like this, right? This long green candle where I can exit the position, and then I am out of here. All right, Amazon PCS. So we got in over here on March 27th. Really excellent candidate for a PCS. I believe this should expire worthless this week. It's very far out of the money. Even if we get a very nasty market drop, I think Amazon will hold its own. And it seems to be catching a bid into its earnings. I love how we got this long red candle on the 4th, and then we actually closed at the high on the 5th. We erased all of the gains, all the losses on the candle, which I thought was very, very impressive. So Amazon's a very strong stock, and I'm very confident that we're going to take the full profits on the spread. All right, COP, we just got in today, so we have our marching orders there. Try to take $1 to $2 on this trade, depending on how bullish you are on the market. And then we have PanW. So PanW, pretty weak stock, broke down to the SMA in the market. Market has been inching up higher. PanW has been a little bit more flat. So there seemed to be some a little bit of support over here. And any sort of move with the market down, I think we can take our profits in PanW. So that is what we are watching in the stock. This is our first real short in a while, and we're gonna give it some time. So like PanW over here, and yeah, we will kind of just keep a watch on it and see what the market does and see what the stock does. All right, so what are some of the picks today that we can discuss? So there's a couple that I like. There's some on the short side, some on the long side. So I really like Hasbro on the long side. So it's a little bit choppy over here, but it's formed a pretty nice trend, and it's held all the gains really well, especially during this market drop. I don't know if anything has been driving it recently. I don't really know, but what I do know is that the price action is nice and strong. We got this high plus breakout. It's got a little bit extended from its 8 EMA, a bit of a choppy stock. And what I want to see with Hasbro is get in on these pullbacks. All right, we get a deep pullback, get us on this alert. So an M15 pullback alert would get my attention. And for whatever reason, there does seem to be a little bit of a short-term high over here. So I think if we can chop around this high, hold this level over here, I'd like to see a nice flat bottom HA candle that makes a new high. That would get me interested in Hasbro. So Hasbro is one that I like quite a bit. INTC has potential. It's right on this very long-term low plus trend line, so we have to respect that. We're not going to take any shorts over there. LW has some nice momentum, but it's pretty overextended. So I have an alert set on that on the M15 chart, and we'll see if that triggers. GPS has been a very nice reversal. So after this heavy buying over here, it's actually been giving away quite a bit of the gains. And we have HA reversal over here, some nice HA continuation, relative strength really tanking. So very interesting chart, honestly. It went parabolic and it froze, and then we're now getting the downside of that move. So I'm not sure if I would swing it, but you can definitely day trade it. And this has been some excellent price action over here. You want to get a good entry point because it gets choppy and then compresses a little bit. Then we get the breakdown. So set your alerts again, maybe M15, even an M5. But yeah, super weak on the M15 chart. I don't even think you would really get an M15 alert. So set your M5 LRSI alerts, M5 HA reversal alerts, and you should be in good shape. And then IONQ has been a pretty nice one. Very liquid, nice breakthrough compression. Lots of room over here, lots of gap. It's a weak bearish chart. So IONQ has been very, very nice. So I think what I'd recommend over here is probably the following. I'm really not looking to take any trades. You could maybe do a PCS if you want, but I am not crazy about doing anything too much. So what I'm going to say is we're going to go with Hasbro on the following conditions. I want to see it hold VWAP over here and manage to close near its high of the day on a nice L and enter on an LRSI M15 alert. So that is going to be my pick for 8 HAS on M15 LRSI alert. So we're going to add it to our picks. We're going to take a look at that. and we'll see how it does. So thanks everyone for watching. Stay patient, don't take too many trades, and I'll catch you all in the next video.